Courtney, you said that you wanted to see how your team responded to adversity. You definitely got some of that. Started game one last week. Just what do you think of the week in general, the weekend?
I think that we learned a lot. We learned a lot about our group. I think that overall on the weekend, I would say that we weren't necessarily firing, but finding a way. And so obviously we had that tough game in that last one, and you get, to ITB, and it's just tough. It changes the game quite a bit. Penn State just outplayed us. But over the course of the weekend, if you're watching closely, you'd probably only think that like Reagan and Nia were really feeling it, yet we were producing and scoring a lot of runs. And so I think we learned a lot. I think our pitchers competed. I think we have some things we need to just fine tune because we're going to need to be better this coming weekend. But for week one, I liked our character. I liked our composure. I didn't love our last day, but it's something that we get to respond to moving forward. And so good first weekend.
Yeah, and then not to put you on the hot seat too much with the next question, but can you just tell me a little bit what you know about all the teams that you're facing out there? I know there's quite a few of them.
Well, you mean this coming weekend?
This coming weekend.
I mean, this coming weekend we only had 3, whereas last weekend we had 5, so feels like a lighter load to prep for. Arizona, they swing it. They swing it big. They create havoc on the bases. They're fast. Their field plays very fast and bouncy, but the ball also flies. So it's a stadium and an elevation that really fits their offense. I think their pitching, you look, this past weekend, I think they just gave up 1 run, which is really tough to do no matter who you're playing in an offensive game. It's just really tough. So I think they're playing really well. I think they're playing very complete. Their defense is always good. Lauren always does a really great job with their defense. You look at Long Beach, and I think that they had a tough start. But as you watch their weekend, they're playing better at the end. And we expect Long Beach to do what Long Beach always does. They pitch it really well. They defend it really well. And they create runs. They create runs by putting pressure on defense, which is going to be an interesting thing, again, with how the infield plays in Tucson. And then Omaha had a really great first weekend, too. They had a tough schedule. They beat Northern Iowa. They beat Northern Illinois. They split with Drake. So they were challenged early. I would be curious. I mean, they played indoors, so this might be the first time that they've been on dirt a ton, and then how it plays. But we're gonna have 3 very complete teams, very well prepared teams, and so it'll be a great weekend to challenge us.
Yeah, and then last thing I'll ask real quick is Nia said that she has a lot of family coming. I know you have several Arizona girls on the team too. What do you think just about kind of that opportunity to play somewhere that's accessible for families of so many on your team?
Oh, well, it's huge. We like to get our players home. We like to kind of, in the 2 weekends we really have to choose, we like to try to get into areas that either get our players home or our recruits or obviously good weather. And so we have, this is about as close as we could get this year for Nia and Morgan and Reese and Spence and all those west, the ones that are west. So it's always great. I think our families travel well anyway, but it's going to be really fun to have a pretty good size, and what I hear, a pretty vocal group. So we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Courtney.
Dudley.
Mm-hmm.
Dudley.
Talk to me a little bit about how you assessed your pitching staff after that first weekend.
How I assessed, is that what you said?
Yes.
Well, I think that we could see Rob had a really great weekend. I think Morgan pitched really well. I think Ha pitched really well. I think the big thing in this game, it's offensive, and I think that some teams ran into balls that they might not run into again. It's just the game. But I think Ha was really effective this weekend, and I think we just have to kind of figure out where Reese is. We've watched a lot of video. We've worked really closely and just kind of figuring out what was a little off with her body. And I think that we're in a really good spot moving forward. So feel like those four are in a great spot. And I know Nikki and Casey are ready as well. So I'm really pleased. At the end of the day, all we ask our pitchers is to give us a chance to win. And they did that. And so we'll continue to get better. We'll continue to fix the things that we can be sharper with. And I anticipate them being better as we move forward.
Also, the top of the batting lineup was really good this weekend. Talk about the dynamic that those two bring up there.
Oh yeah, I mean they were incredibly dynamic at the top. I think Reagan ended up hitting 500 on the weekend. I know Nia was close to 400. 421. Just kidding. She was over 400. My bad. And so just looking at what those two are able to do, especially in that first inning this past weekend, they create runs. They're table setters. They put pressure on the defense. I just thought that they did a really consistent, steady job throughout the weekend. And as you can see, I think that those two are going to cause trouble for other teams moving forward. But I think we're still finding our groove throughout. I think that we are able to capitalize on those two. I think it's only going to be more as we continue moving forward.
Alyssa?
Hey, Courtney, I asked Nia about just wearing the Razorback uniform and playing in it for the first time. And so how fun is it for you when you bring in all these pieces from the transfer portal to get them to see them play together for the very first time?
It's really fun. I would I'll have to go watch back and see what she said. I would love to hear that answer. I think that they have a lot of pride when they put the Razorback uniform on. I don't necessarily think that it's this big, like adding transfers and this big time. I just think that we're a really connected group and they have a lot of pride in what they do with people around them and what's written across the chest. And so you could see that in just them suiting up, and it's always fun.
Yeah, I know this is kind of the way that softball starts, but you're about to finish 2 weeks and play 8 separate different teams. Where's the advantage to that as opposed to doing a 3-game series with one team for the first 2 weekends?
Well, the advantage to that is really when you really dive into our schedule, we play just about half of it in the first 5 weeks. And so it's more than anything, it makes you focus on your own team. Like you can prep, but you can't prep at the in-depth that you do when you get into the SEC. You really focus on what you do really well and try to just be really good at the game and what the game asks you to do. But it preps us for, postseason. It preps us for, regional when you have 3 teams come in and you have to be ready for that. And it forces you to be really resilient. It forces you to focus on the small things. It focuses you on getting back if things go off, of getting back really quick because you have another team lining up for you. So it's character building. It's prepping for the postseason. It's just really focusing on ourselves. So.
Lastly, I know you talked about your pitching staff a little bit, but maybe focusing more on Morgan and what she was able to do in the circle in her first appearance as a Razorback. Can you expound on that a little?
Yeah, I thought she was exceptional. And when you get to the end of the weekend and you look back and you're like, dang, Morgan only threw a little over 6 innings. That's not how we necessarily drew it up, but she was going to work in tandem with Rob, and Rob had really great outings. And so we expect her to have a bigger load moving forward. She had a bigger load this weekend. It just didn't work out that way. But I'll say that I thought she was exceptional, but beyond that, Morgan is one of the most selfless teammates that I've ever had the privilege of coaching. And if you were to watch her, and when you guys get the chance to watch her when we're in Bogle next week, you'll see her right in the middle of every huddle. You'll see her bringing helmets and gloves out for whoever is up next, whoever is hitting and has to get out on defense. And she's just always looking for ways to pick up her teammates and support them. And it's just like what she does. It's not a effort thing. It's not like she has to be mindful of it. It's just who she is. And so I mean, beyond what she did in the circle, it's just she's just so incredibly selfless, and I'm just really proud and happy that she's a Razorback.
Is that something you picked up when you were recruiting her, or had found out more maybe about her personality when you were recruiting her, or you just kind of saw once she got on campus?
I think we saw that when she got on campus. I think when we do our research, we figure out the character. I don't think it was well beyond anything that we found it or could see in video. Like when we're watching video, it's a lot of on the field. And so you figure out what kind of person she is, and she came with rave reviews, but it's so beyond anything that we heard in that process. And she's someone that's had to fight for everything that she's gotten. It's never been easy for her. And so you see just this joy in competing, and this joy in being a part of a team and picking each other up and getting to succeed for her team. It's not any selfish, I mean, she wants to be good for her. She works her butt off, but she wants to be really good for her teammates. And I wish we could bottle it up and put it in everyone. But for right now, we're just going to continue to feed off her energy and her just like servant heart.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other questions for Coach Deifel? All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.